All right, it's Jeff Molina, El Jefe himself. El Jefe, you had a pretty fantastic 2001, man. Well, how about 2001? How about 2021? Your 2001 was probably fine, but 2021 was good. 2-0 in the UFC, fight of the night along the way. Man, what was the feel like for you?
Man, preschool was great back in '01. Man, 2021 was a good year, man. It was a good year. I had my debut. It felt like it took forever to get there, but got her done. Wasn't happy with the performance, but got a bonus from it. And then moving on to my sophomore performance, I was much more content with that one. And then we're here, man. We're here getting ready for this fight June 4th.
I love it, man. Before we talk about that, let me ask you. I think it's interesting, right? You pick up a bonus of a fight you're not really happy with. So, what kind of message does that tell you, right? Like, I don't really love it, but I love that 50 G's in the bank.
Yeah, man. The performance itself, I thought was dog shit. I was really hard on myself. But getting 50K, I don't come from much money, man. So that's life changing. So I'll take it for what it was. I learned a ton from that fight, man, and I think I showed it in my second outing that wasn't really who I am. And yeah, just take it for what it is. Not gonna lose any more sleep over it. But yeah, every time I watch that fight, I'm like, God, I fucking hate that fight. The
Well, it was a hell of
PTSD
a
is
fight.
real, man.
It was a
Yeah,
hell of a
I do.
fight.
I want to save those type of back and forth fights for when I'm fighting top five. Like I know they're gonna be much more competitive fights, and I shouldn't be having those competitive fights in my debut. I know what I'm capable of. My coaches know what I'm capable of, and I just need to go out there and show it. And that was a very piss poor performance in my opinion.
Well, you talk about what you're capable of. I got to ask. So your career is so interesting, right? Because you're on this incredible run right now. But you look back. You started out your professional run at 1-2, right? Now 3 years later, you're in this UFC. But I just wonder, you're 1-2. Are there moments where you start doubting? You start going, "Oh God, maybe this is not going to be the thing that I thought it was. Maybe this isn't my career path."
Dude, 100%. Like I was 19 years old. I was 1-2, and I had retired. I was done. I was done fighting. I remember I had my third pro fight in Omaha. I had three pro fights within like a 4-month period, which wasn't the smartest thing to do. And I just lost a close split decision in the guy's hometown. And I remember just being so disappointed and just upset backstage after the fight that I told my coach. I looked at my coach Jason High and I was like, I'm done. I'm retiring. Like, what's the point of doing this now? I'll never make it to the UFC. I'm 1-2. My record's trashed. It's over. And I remember Josh Neer was back there. Of course, my coach is back there, and they're both like, "Dude, shut the fuck up. You're 19 years old. What are you saying?" But in my head, I was done. No longer gonna train. No longer gonna fight. I had been doing it since I was 14 at that time, and so for 5 years, and I was undefeated as an amateur, and my pro career just didn't pan out the way I thought it would. And of course, a lot of it played to stupid decisions, having that many fights within a short period of time, being 19 years old, going up a weight class. Back then, I was like 130 something pounds soaking wet, and I was fighting up a weight class. But I remember going to a bar later that night in Omaha. I had family and friends that came out. And about 6 Irish car bombs later, I unretired. And I was like, fuck that. There's no way I'm unretired, man. There's no way I'm going out like that. I can't let my career end like that. And I unretired that night. And I may have or may have not been underage. I don't know what the statute of limitations is on that. So, but yeah, unretired that night. And here we are.
I love it. See, underage drinking always leads to great things, is what I try to tell people, man.
Yeah, that should be the clickbait title for this.
We'll talk about it, man. So you talk about being a 19-year-old having these dreams, and now you're in. You know what I mean? I know only getting ready for your third fight, but you're here. But talk to me about I guess the reality of where you are versus maybe how you thought it would be. Is it better? Is it worse? Is it different? What do you think?
It's so weird, man. Like, John, I think I told you this in my Contender Series little post-fight presser, but I was like, I'm fucking talking to John Morgan, man. Like, I'm a fan of the sport. First come and I watch your interviews. I've watched the sport religiously. I'm a fan of the sport, man, and I think watching film is a great way to get better. Learning from other people's successes and mistakes without taking the brain trauma is huge. So I'm big into watching film. I'm also a degenerate now, like full blown degenerate. So this is how I make my passive income is betting on fights. So I watch a ton of tape. But back to your question, man, I really thought it would feel different. I did. Like I pictured the UFC to like just feel different when you're walking out as far as like how the fights go. And it was even something I asked my old training partner and friend Grant Dawson after Contender Series. I was like, hey man, like when does it start to feel like, does the UFC debut walk feel different? Because Contender Series felt just like I was walking out to another fight, man. It felt like when I was fighting on the regional scene, or even when I was having my kickboxing fights when I was like 15, 16 years old, like the walks just felt the same, the fights felt the same. Um, so I was like, the debut has to feel different, right? And he told me like, no, not really, man. They all just kind of feel like fights. And I was like, oh fuck, are you serious? Like, so I'm never gonna be happy, you know? Like, I expected it to be something different. Not saying it's not cool, man. Like, obviously, my debut was the first fight in front of fans in over like a year period of time after the panty whammy. So that experience was awesome. Like, don't get me wrong. You just, I guess, you blow it up so much in your head, or at least I did. Like, I always dreamt of fighting in front of a crowd in the UFC, and then when it finally happened, it was awesome, but it just wasn't what I blew it up to be in my head. So the experience is, I don't know if maybe like a title fight will feel different. Maybe that's what I'm telling myself. It's like one day when I fight for a world title, that's the experience I've been waiting for. You know.
It's interesting, man, but it's the dream, but at the same time, it is a job, right? It's not just one night. You get one performance, so you gotta go start getting ready for the next.
Yeah, 100% short-term memory in this game, win or lose, and that's how it is. Like if you get hurt, you don't fight for a year, people forget about you. So everything's short-term memory in this game, and you just got to realize that.
Man, much respect. Well, I don't think people are forgetting your name just yet. It has been 8 months, I guess. Is that just so much passive income with the gambling that you just didn't need to fight? You're just like, man, I got this new gig over here.
No, not so much. The betting's for sure helped the last 8 months. I've done pretty well in the gambling aspect. Shout out to James Krause. Join his Discord. He's killing it, man. We're up like 50 units in the last month. But
Wow.
I've been doing this since August, the whole degeneracy thing, and it's worked really well for me, man. I spend a lot of time. I treat it like a job. Every Tuesday, I'll spend hours watching tape on the fights. On the Saturday or Friday, whenever the fights are, Bellator, UFC, Invicta, bare knuckle. I don't discriminate. I put money on it all. So I spend time to watch tape. I break down these fights. I'm looking at the topologies. I'm watching fights from years ago and really breaking these things down because it's my money involved. So, but as far as not fighting for 8 months, man, I kind of went into the last fight a little banged up. So just letting some things heal up, and it just so happened that I got scheduled June 4th.
Zhalgas Zhumagulov is the opponent. What do you make of him? Maybe a guy that's not a well-known name, but has had some decent performances so far.
Yeah, he's good, man. I feel like his track record in the UFC doesn't speak to the kind of fighter he is. Excuse me. He's really good. He has some big wins on his resume. He beat Ali Bagatinov, Tyson Nam, Tahir Ulanbekov. Big wins on his resume. He's good. He's the next level of competition I need, and I just feel like he's on his way out, and I'm on my way up. Um, he's good. Hits hard. He can scrap. Good wrestler. I just feel like I'm gonna outclass him this fight.
It's a big one. In a victory here, is it ranked opponents at that point? I mean, I got to think at that point you're starting to look at that top 15 a little bit.
Sure. Yeah. Sure. I'm not really looking at a number. Um, my goal is to get to a world title, but I'm in a rush to get there. So I have to fight 15 through number one to get there. I'm okay with that. I'm 24 years young. Get better every day. I'm gonna take my time. I'm in no hurry to get there. So if I'm ranked after this, cool. If I'm not, cool.
Great point. You got time on your side, to say the least. All right, since we know you're an expert at breaking down fights, I know it's too early for this, but you got any early leans on Brandon Moreno and Kai Car France, the interim title fight we're hearing about? Do you like the fight, number one, and do you have any early leans?
Brandon Moreno is now my teammate, man. So I'm leaning hard towards Moreno. I think he actually just got here to Kansas City today to do his camp out here. So we'll be getting some training in. I'll get to train with him. He came out here a couple weeks ago, did some training, and then a couple weeks before that, he came out here. So he's been out here twice already. I actually got to train out in Vegas with him for a week when I was out there for some of my buddies' fights, and now he's doing his camp with us. So Moreno beat him once. I think he'll do it again. I think Moreno's got a chin on him. And I think he's just a scrapper, man. I think he's an out scrap Kai Car France.
That's awesome, man. I didn't realize he was going to do camp out there. Well, of course you're going to be pulling for the guy. Well, talk to me about the training session. I mean, just an opportunity to go with, a UFC champion caliber fighter. I mean, I got to think that does wonders for you just to have the opportunity to be in there with him.
It's awesome, man. It's a confidence booster. It really shows me where I'm at. This guy is the best in the world, in my opinion, and it really shows me where I'm at. So it's really cool to have Brandon Moreno and Tim Elliott as training partners, as my main training partners. So it really shows me like what level I'm at, and it's a good confidence booster.
That's a hell of a guy to have in camp for your final month of preparation as well. So it's June 4th. It's Zhalgas Zhumagulov. I guess, still got plenty of time to get ready, but in your head right now, what kind of fight you think we see that night?
Man, I feel like first round he's going to come out swinging. And if you guys have ever watched me fight, I come forward too. So I think it might be a competitive first round. I think I'll get him out of there in the second.
I love it. I love it. Well, Jefe, I appreciate the time. Now I'm going to start looking to you for betting advice now that I know that you're up 50 units. I'm going to have to start paying attention to that. And I look forward to the fight on June 4th, my man.
Let's go. Anytime. Hit me up, John.